But to say that we benefited from white privilege, it's like, my ancestors came here from Russia and Poland, and it was the late 19th century, early 20th century. We came here. My grandfather died at 102. He was born in Manhattan.
Oh, that's the one you told me about, the boxer, right?
Yeah, he was a boxer when he was a young man, and his parents came here. So, roughly early 1900, late 1800, we came here from Russia and Poland, and none of us came from wealth. We were all working class people.
Yeah, well, you had your white privilege.
But my white privilege, growing up in here in Brooklyn, in a predominantly black community where we were all on welfare. None of us had a dad in the home. And I went the same route my peers went. Teen dad, high school dropout, criminal record, all of the same nonsense as everyone else around me. But it could have been. It would have been harder for me if I wasn't white. That's what they say. They're like, oh no, white people. We're not saying that you don't work hard. We're saying that you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah, basically.
Because of the color of your skin. It's
exactly.
like
Exactly.
we
so
don't.
We're not saying you don't have struggles, but you'd have been worse off.
It would have been worse if you were black or something.
Yeah.
If you weren't white, it would have been even a worse struggle. And it's like it's real insulting to most of us who all we have is our hard work. That's all we have to do anything in life is to work hard at it. And when I look at other people, black, Hispanic, Asian, no matter what they are, outside of the white category, the white group, and we pretty much all do the same thing. We all we get up in the morning, we go to work, we earn a paycheck, we pay our bills, we try to save money, try to put get our kids in schools,
Absolutely.
We try to make a life for ourselves and our family. We're all doing the same thing, and it's like, I don't get it. Why do you think they're working harder than me when we're both pretty much doing the same thing? And it's like, well, you don't have to deal with what he has to deal with. And it's like, well, what does he have to deal with? Like, this is not the Jim Crow South anymore. Those days are over. What are they dealing with? Are they being constantly harassed all day long? And according to a lot of them, they are. They're constantly under harassment. And if it's a few people saying something like that, where they had bad luck and they ran into people giving them a hard time, okay, fine, it happens. But when you get so many of them, and then the funny part is your political alliance really says how bad you've been harassed for the color of your skin. Because when you meet Republicans that are Spanish or black or another group, they don't mention their oppression and how bad they're treated and how many racial slurs they're called all day long. It's when you meet these the people on the left, they have so many grievances. Everything, they've been triggered so much. There's so much microaggression around
they
them.
have a fundamentally different pathology, different mindset.
Yeah,
different
completely different.
Which some people, and I'm not going to get too carried away, but some people actually do believe that there's basis in there's a genetic component to a person's political inclination, political leaning, so to speak. Which I don't know. I mean, I'm no scientist, but I think that the more I observe, certainly the more credible that theory becomes. Because you could have a person that what I mean. It's just like you said that you work hard, this and that. You try to save money, you go to work, you pay your bills. And what you don't realize is that a lot of people that have this profound resentment just for you just because, because of whatever they get fed or whatever it is they believe, and it's just they will perpetually find a reason to be unhappy, to be miserable and complaining about whatever it is. So they don't acknowledge your hard work, because the reason you're doing better is because you were just given everything just because. Period. And it doesn't have to. They don't have to have proof of that. They don't have to be able to. Doesn't have to align with reality just because I said so. Just because. And I don't care if you say otherwise. You're a liar. So it's like they don't acknowledge your hard work. They don't acknowledge that there's these avenues that they, channels that they could take to really do better. What they want is it's a lot easier to sit and complain, right, and just collect resources. Same with an example would be these obese feminists that instead of maybe bettering their situation, maybe instead of walking around with green hair and septum rings and whatnot, and just continuing eating their eating habits. They would rather, instead of better their situation and find a suitable partner, they'd rather change society's terms of beauty. It's easier for them to. Right. Even though
that's what
they don't actually have to do any work.
Yeah.
Go to the gym.
Well, I think for a lot of them, it's a psychological block.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you know they can't come to terms with the fact that that they're lazy and they make poor health choices. Granted, some of them have
maybe a thyroid or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
but most of them,
Very few.
you know, that's not the
Which
case.
still
Most of them,
there's medication.
most of them are not disciplined. Most
Mm.
people who are fat and overweight are not disciplined, and they're very lazy.
Absolutely.
And they're not. I recently lost 45 pounds.
I myself have. Yeah, been
I mean,
going to
yeah,
gym.
you too.
Yeah,
you
I've
lost
been-
a lot of weight too. I mean, all
I'm
I
not
did
there
was
yet,
cut
but,
back,
you know,
cut
getting
back my eating, change my eating habits, and
Go to the
work
gym.
out. Go to the
Exactly,
gym, run,
exactly.
do what I do, and
Yeah.
and you lose the weight. But
Yeah.
instead of doing that, because that's too much hard work, instead they want to change the standards of beauty
Exactly.
and get us
Society, right, right.
to look at a big woman and
Exactly.
be attracted to her. It's like, I
Exactly.
will not be, you know, it's the same thing the trans community is doing
Mhm.
with, you know, you get some idiots like that, Riley Dennis or whatever his, hers, they, them's name is,
Mhm.
where
Yeah,
it
true,
says,
yeah.
or she or he or whatever says, if you're not attracted to transgender, or if you want to have sex with one of us or whatever, then you're a bigot or a transphobic or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can't redefine, you know, what makes, you know, the neurotransmitters in my brain go haywire. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? When I see a sexy woman, this is what's sexy to me.
Yeah.
You cannot force me to all of a sudden not be
that's where
attracted.
you're wrong, bigot. They're going to re-educate you.
They're gonna that's
And they're
exactly
gonna
what the
wanna get
point
inside
is.
your brain,
It's like
absolutely.
it's not my fault that I'm not attracted to big girls. You know, throughout human history, you know, if you look at it through an evolutionary standpoint, you know, again, this is just my opinion, but if you look at it through an evolutionary standpoint, right now, and maybe in the last 100 years or so, or 75 years, whatever year it is when you see all of the obesity and big people. Because most of human history, we were smaller, we were thinner, we were shorter.
Absolutely.
You know, we weren't consuming as much calories a day. So we
And
didn't evolve
Right.
to find big people attractive. It's just
Exactly.
most humans did not evolve to
Exactly.
think big, fat people are attractive. You know,
No,
there
exactly.
there are people out there who do like big people,
Right.
but most of societies across the world.
Well, yeah, because
Are not attracted to big
because
people.
most men have always been throughout the history of time to sort of be programmed to look at a woman with maybe a nice plump set of hips that would be, I guess, suitable for childbearing
Right,
and
right.
whatnot, and and all these things that just sort of like they transcend current day culture, they transcend politics. They basically go, it's you're genetically predispositioned. You're almost hardwired to view things a certain way. It's just like Steven Crowder said that he goes, his member is basically the only thing that's not tainted by political correctness or anything like that. It's unadulterated. So if he sees a pretty woman and he gets turned on, that's just like I mean, it's fine for the pedophiles and these deviants, to have their preferences. It's okay if they like children. They're not monsters, and that's not a straw man, by the way. They're literally pushing for that. But when a man, an average, cis white straight man, doesn't like an obese woman, well, he's just a piece of shit, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
Pretty,
it's like,
it's because of our toxic masculinity.
Right. But meanwhile,
toxic
don't hurt the
masculinity,
pedophile. He's not a monster. You're the monster.
Right.
just sick.
You had that woman that. Oh, I don't remember her name. She did the TED Talks and she was talking about this is Jonah, and Jonah is attracted to children, but Jonah can never live a healthy life, and have a partner that he loves because the partner would be a child and that's illegal. And it was like this pandering to pedophiles. It's like this is sick. It's sick and twisted to have a sexual attraction to a child.
Absolutely.
It's not normal at all. I mean, to look at a child and think that there's any kind of sexiness to each other. We all have to admit, there's many times in our lives we've seen maybe young girls, 12, 13 years old, and you could see that she's a pretty girl and she's developing a little earlier in life.
Yeah.
And you're looking and you're saying to yourself, that girl is a few years away from being an adult or an older teenager or something, or you see the high school girls, and sometimes they're a little filled out, and then especially if they're wearing something
they shouldn't earlier, maybe.
they're wearing something that they shouldn't be wearing.
Yeah.
That's for an adult women. They shouldn't wear
still,
that.
I would never ever get any sexual ideas.
But still, you don't look at them with you're sexy. I want to have sex with you. I want to. You look at them like, okay, in the future, whatever. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. I would never have any type of malintent. I don't even.
You don't look at them like that, and whatever. Even if girls to guys, you'll see a young boy. He's very athletic, and he's growing, and he appears to be a little older than what his age is. But still, it's like normal women will look at this kid, 12, 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid, and say, oh, he's going to be a heartthrob. And they'll say, they could blatantly say it without being creeps. We're creeps if we see a 12-year-old girl and say, she's going to be a killer in a couple years from now. Well, we're a creep. But a woman, when I was 12, 13, women used to say all the time, oh, with his blue eyes, he's going to be a heartthrob in a couple years. He's going to be, and it's perfectly fine to say that.
Yeah, it's socially acceptable.
It's right. It's socially acceptable to say that. But they're not looking at me like, he's sexy now.
Yeah.
I want to have sex with him right now.
No, true.
It's not normal. It's not normal.
No, I agree. And call me crazy, but that's actually one of the double standards, one of the societal double standards that I more or less don't mind that we have. Because, in other words, I wouldn't want any men looking at 12-year-olds saying,
no, not at all. Yeah, not at all.
So, but then again, when I was younger, and my cousin, who's 6 years older than me, who's a girl, had one of her girlfriends that we would always just hang out and maybe go to a cafe, get something to eat, what have you. They were just best friends. They were girlfriends, and sometimes they'd bring me along to tag along with them. And so she'd sometimes blatantly say, "Oh, girl, if only your little cousin," referring to me, was a few years older, And I was like, and I loved it, whatever. But that's like, I'm sure that's a little different than if I was a girl and I had an older boy cousin, and he was making moves at me. You know what I mean? Which is why,
right. We don't.
I just feel like this.
Yeah, we don't say it.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong. If anything, I was loving it. I was loving the attention. But I think there's nothing wrong with the double standards in society when it comes to certain things. And this is just one example of one that I wouldn't really mind.
Right, because women are never looked at as creeps. Like if I walked over to a woman and I just pulled my dick out to her and flashed her, then I'm a creep.
Right.
But if you're in a bar or something and a girl stands on the bar and just like whips her tits out in front of everyone, she's not a creep. She's just she's just drunk. She's having a good time.
Exactly.
But you're right. There is double standards in our society that is the norm, and it should remain the norm.
Absolutely,
right?
more or less.
There will be privileges that that women have over us, privileges that we have over them, and that's just the way it is. But the pedophilia thing is just, it's gross. It really is. It is definitely a psychological issue, 100%.
Absolutely,
it's not normal to be sexually attractive,
to a
child.
Yeah, and
it's just not normal. And we should not glorify it in any way, shape, or form.
Not even that. It's just, I think it's beyond that. A lot of people nowadays, blatantly you see an encouragement of these things, right? And
well, look at the 11-year-old boy that was on stage in Brooklyn. Desmond is amazing, or whatever they call him. And he's dancing for money in a Brooklyn gay bar. It's like, when did this become acceptable?
And the crazy thing is that it's just there's really no stopping it. I feel like it's
no, because you're a bigot for saying something about it. You're a transphobe and a homophobe for saying that an 11-year-old child should not be allowed in a bar. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, they should not be dancing sexually in any way, because there is a lot of sexuality involved in the whole in drag queens in that whole community, right? It is a sexualization of people, 100%. And he's this little boy is up there dancing, and men are throwing money at him.
Literally.
Yeah, literally, and handing him money.
Yeah.
But
he's empowered. Don't you want to?
Yeah.
Why are you getting away?
She's empowered.
Yeah.
She's empowered,
and
right?
And the crazy thing too is that you have this general sort of cultural sentiment in contemporary society of make racists afraid again, whatever the fuck a racist is. But basically, at the same time, don't make pedophiles afraid at all. Empower the pedophiles, right? And then, a lot of people that aren't really privy to what's going on in current day might call me a conspiracy theorist. They might call me a loon. They might call me, they might say, "Oh, that's a straw man." Nobody's then I don't know what to say to you. But anybody who is conscientious of what's going on would have to agree that things are, I don't want to say getting out of hand, they've been out of hand for a while now. And it's just, it's only hard to imagine how much worse they're going to get, but I think we have a general idea where this is all heading.
Yeah, definitely not good. It's definitely a demoralization of our society.
No, absolutely.
I think so. I think we're definitely headed, into the future.
Absolutely.
When when it's just anything goes.
Literally,
It's
yeah.
just anything goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going from, you know, boxing to having the UFC to having, you know, mixed martial arts, and then like up next we're gonna have like real sword fights to the death. You know what I mean? And I'm a MMA fan anyway. You know, I mean I love it, but
Yeah.
that's just the analogy I'm giving.
Well, yeah, because basically